Hey everyone, you're watching the Esperanza 243. You're watching my book reading project of The Westing Game, Part 15. Alright, this is kind of exciting. This episode, or this video, will be 30 minutes long. Let's hope we can get some reading done. We're actually almost halfway through. I believe in part 14, I guess it was kind of like a meeting, or no, everyone was, eating at Shinho's restaurant. Basically, it was just conversations between everyone, different conversations. They all are trying to get to know each other better, I suppose. And the last we read was... that's funny. I believe we ended part 14 with Jake Wexler going to the restaurant, and Grace, his wife, leads her to a table with Turtle. And that's actually where I'm starting. Would you prefer to sit alone or with that young lady over there? I thought I was going to sit with you. Please be seated, Grace said. Mr. Ho, will take your order shortly. Jake snatched the menu from his wife and watched her glide, gracefully he had to admit, to the reservations desk and whisper in Ho's ear. Jimmy, she calls him. That's a fine kettle of fish, he exclaimed, then turned to his dinner companion. Fine kettle of fish. I'm so hungry even that sounds good, and from the looks of this menu, that's probably what I'll get. I'm okay, Turtle replied, the final prices of actively traded stocks rumbling in her ear. Mr. Ho waddled over. I recommend the striped bass. See, what did I tell you? A kettle of fish. Turtle switched off the radio. She had heard enough bad news for one day. How about spare ribs done to a crisp? Ho suggested. Then he lowered his voice. What's the point spread on Packers game? See me later, Jake muttered. Go ahead and tell him, Daddy, Turtle said. I know you're a bookie. Oh. Jeez. Can you stand on your legs? Sidell asked. Can you walk at all? People never asked Chris those questions. They whispered them to his parents behind his back. No. Why? What's better disguise for a thief or a murderer than a wheelchair? The perfect alibi. Chris enjoyed being taken for the criminal type. Now they really were friends. When you me nose. What? Oh, read you my notes. Soon, very soon. Sidell daintily touched the corners of her mouth with a napkin, pushed back her chair, and grabbed her polka dot crutch. That was a superb meal. I must give my compliments to the chef. She rose, knocking the chair to the floor, and clumped toward the kitchen door. Where is she going? Angela, starting up to help her partner, was distracted by shouting in the corridor. Hello in there, anybody home? Through the restaurant door came a bundled and booted figure. He danced an elephantine jig, stomping snow on the carpet, flung a long woolen scarf from his neck, and yelled, Oh, this Amber is here! The roads are clear! That's when the bomb went off. What? Oh, that's right. The chapter was called The Second Bomb. What chapter are we on, by the way? 13. Nobody move! Everybody stay where you are, Mr. Ho shouted as he rushed into the sizzling, crackling kitchen. Just a little mishap, Grace Wexler explained, taking her command post in the middle of the restaurant. Nothing to worry about. Eat up before your food gets cold. A cluster of red sparks hissed through the swinging kitchen door, kissed the ceiling, and rained a shimmering shower down and around the petrified hostess. Fireflies of color faded into her honey blonde hair and scattered into ash at her feet. Nothing to worry about, she repeated hoarsely. Just celebrating the Chinese New Year, Otis Amber shouted, adding one of his hee-hee-hee cackles. Mr. Ho leaned through the kitchen doorway, his shiny, straight black hair, even shinier and straighter, plastered to his forehead, water dribbling down his moon-shaped face. Call an ambulance! There's been a slight accident! Angela dashed past Mr. Ho into the kitchen. Jake Wexler made the emergency telephone call and sent Theo to the lobby to direct the ambulance attendants. Thank goodness the roads are clear. Why are you standing there like a statue? Ho shouted at his son. You told everybody to stay where they were, Doug said. You're not everybody. Madam Ho tried to make the injured woman as comfortable as possible on the debris-strewn floor. Angela found the sequined spectacles, wiped off the wet crystalline mess, and placed them on her partner's nose. Don't look so worried, Angela. I'm all right. Sidel was in pain, but she wanted attention on her own terms, not as a hapless, foolish victim of fate. Looks like a fracture, an ambulance attendant said, feeling her right ankle. Careful how you lift her. The secretary suppressed a grunt. It was bad enough being drenched by the overhead sprinkler and draped with noodles. Now they were carrying her right past them all. Grace pulled Angela away from the stretcher. You can visit your friend in a few days. Angela, Sidel moaned. Pride or not, she wanted her partner at her side. Angela stood between her determined mother and her distraught partner, paralyzed by the burden of choice. Go with your friend, Angie Pye, Jake Wexler said. Others chimed in. Go with Pulaski. Grace realized she had lost. Perhaps you should go to the hospital, Angela. It's been so long since you've seen your Dr. D. She winked mischievously, but only Florent Bambach smiled back. The policeman and the fire inspector visiting the scene agreed that it was nothing more than a gas explosion. Good thing the sprinkler system worked, or Mr. Ho might have had a good fire. What kind of a fire is a good fire? Ho wanted to know. And what about the burglaries? Grace Wexler asked. I am with the bomb squad. You'll have to call the robbery detail for that. And what about the coffee shop accident? Theo asked. Also a gas explosion. Jake Wexler asked about the odds of having two explosions in 2 days in the same building. Nothing unusual, the fireman explained. Especially in weather like this. No ventilation, snow packed over the ducts. He instructed the tenants to air out their kitchens before lighting ovens. Mrs. Wexler turned up the heat in her apartment and kept the windows open for the next 3 days. She did not want anything blowing up during Angela's party. But the Wexler apartment was exactly where the bomber planned to set the next bomb. Chapter 14. Pairs repaired. The snow plows plowed and A warm sun finished the job of freeing the tenants of Sunset Towers and the figure in the Westinghouse from their wintry prisons. Angela, disguised in her mother's old beaver coat and hat and in Turtle's red boots, was the first one out. Following Siddell's instructions, she hastily searched under the hood of every car in the parking lot. Nothing was there. Nothing, that is, that didn't seem to belong to an automobile engine. So much for good gracious from Hood's space. Next came Flora Baumbach. Behind her, a bootless Turtle tiptoed through puddles. Miracle of miracles, the rusty and battered Chevy started, but the dressmaker's luck went downhill from there. First, the hood of her car flew up in the middle of traffic. Then, after 2 hours of watching mysterious symbols move across the lighted panel high on the wall of the broker's office, her eyes began to cross. After 3 hours, the grin faded from her face. "I'm getting dizzy," she said, shifting her position on the hard wooden folding chair. "And worse yet, I think I've got a splinter in my fanny." "Look, there goes one of our stocks," Turtle replied. And what follows, I'm going to put all across here because I don't know how to put this into words. It's, stock market stuff. And I'll leave that up for about 10 seconds. And I hope you understood that, because I don't. I'm not one to gamble on stock market. Flora Baumbach caught a glimpse of C $5.8.5 as it was about to magically disappear off the left edge of the moving screen. "Oh my, I've forgotten what that means." Turtle sighed. "It means 500 shares of C was traded at $8.50 a share." "What did we pay?" "Never mind. Just write down the prices of our stocks as they cross the tape like I'm doing. Once school opens, it's all up to you." Turtle did not tell her partner that they had bought 200 shares of C at $15.25 a share. On that stock alone, they had a loss of $1,350, not counting commissions. Jeez. It took nerves of steel to play the stock market. No kidding. The Mercedes is wiped clean and shiny like new, the doorman boasted. His face reddened around old scars as he rejected a folded $5 bill. "No tips, Judge. Please. Not after all you've done for the wife and me." The judge had given him the entire $10,000. Whoa! J.J. Ford pocketed the bill and, to make amends for her thoughtless gesture, asked the doorman about his family. Sandy perched on the edge of a straight-backed chair, adjusted his round, wire-framed glasses, repaired at the bridge with the adhesive tape across his broken bone, or nose, and told about his children. 2 boys still in high school, 1 daughter married, and expecting my 3rd grandchild. Her husband just lost his job, so they all moved in with us. Another daughter who works part-time as a typist. She plays the piano real good. And 2 sons who work in a brewery. "It must have been difficult supporting such a large family," the judge said. "Not so bad. I picked up odd jobs here and there after I got fired from the Westing plant for trying to organize the union, but mostly I boxed. I wasn't no middleweight contender, but I wasn't bad either. Got my face smashed up a few times, too many though. Still get some pretty bad headaches and my brain gets sort of fuzzy. Some dummy of a partner you got stuck with, huh, Judge? We'll do just fine, partner. Judge Ford's attempt at familiarity fell flat. I did try to phone you, but your name was not listed. We don't have a phone no more. Couldn't afford it with the kids making so many calls. But I did make some headway on our clues. Want to see? Sandy removed the paper from the inside of his cap and placed it on the desk. Judge Ford noticed a flask protruding from the back pocket of his uniform, but his breath smelled of peppermint. The clues as figured out by Alexander McSouthers. Skies, am, shining, brother. Skies, Sykes. Dr. Sykes witnessed the will. Am, brother. Am, and capitalized. Amber, Otis Amber. Oh, and the B is capitalized as well. Shining, Shin, the middle name of James Shin Ho, or what Turtle kicks. Brother, Theo or Chris Theodorakis. Remarkable, the judge commented to Sandy's delight. However, we are looking for one name, not 6. Gee, Judge, I forgot, Sandy said dejectedly. Judge Ford told him about Theo's proposal, but Sandy refused to go along. It seems too easy, the clues adding up to one message, especially for a shrewd guy like Westing. Let's stick it out together, just the two of us. After all, I got me the smartest partner of them all. Shallow flattery for the big tipper, the judge thought. McSouthers was not a stupid man, if only he was less obsequious, and less of a gossip. The doorman scratched his head. What I can't figure out, Judge, is why I'm one of the heirs, unless Sam Westing just up and died, and there is no murderer. Unless Sam Westing is out to get somebody from his grave. And there we go. I agree with you entirely, McSouthers. What we have to find out is who these 16 heirs are, and which one, as you say, was Westing out to get. Sandy beamed. They were going to play it his way. What you need is an advertising campaign. What I need is my half of the $10,000. $5,000 is what I estimate the redecorating and the newspaper ads will cost. Get out of here! Get out! Grace stared at Ho's smooth, broad face, at the devilish tufts of eyebrows so high above those flashing eyes. Then she turned her back and walked out. Sometimes she wondered about that man. No, he couldn't be the murderer. He couldn't even kill the water bug in the sink this morning. Grace spun around to see if she was being followed on the footstep hushing carpet in the third-floor hall. No one was there, but she heard voices. They were coming from her kitchen. It was nothing, just Otis Amber shouting at Crow, something about losing their clues. I remember them, Otis, Crow replied in a soft voice. She felt strangely at peace. Just this morning she had been given the chance to hide her love in Angel's bag, the big tapestry shoulder bag she carries next to her heart. Now she must pray that the boy comes back. I remember them too. That's not the point, Otis Amber argued. What if somebody else finds them? Crow. Are you listening to me, Crow? No, but Grace Wexler was listening. Really, Mr. Amber, can't you find another time to discuss your affairs with my cleaning woman? And where are you going, Crow? Crow was buttoned up in her black moth-eaten winter coat. A black shawl covered her head. It's freezing in here, Otis Amber shut the window. Grace opened the window. The last thing I need is a gas explosion, she said peevishly. Boom! He replied. The two women were so startled that the delivery boy sneaked up on the unsuspecting for the rest of the week, shouting, "Boom!" Besides shouting "boom," Otis Amber delivered groceries from the shopping center to Sunset Towers, back and forth, and to and fro. Not only did the tenants have to restock their bare shelves, they had to add Westing paper products by the cross to their orders. Idiots, just because the will said buy Westing paper products, he muttered, hefting a bulky bag from the compartment attached to his bike. Westing did not mean the actual products. Sorry. Even Crow was using Westing disposable diapers to polish the silver and Westing paper towels to scrub the floors. Is that what happened to their clues? Poor Crow, she's taking this game harder than he had expected. She's been acting strange again. Boom! Otis Amber shouted as the intern hurried by. Idiots, muttered Denton Deer. Denton Deer paced the floor. Listen, kid, I'd like to help you, but I'm only an intern specializing in plastic surgery. It would be different if you wanted a nose job or a facelift. He had meant to be amusing. It sounded cruel. Chris had not asked for charity. All he wanted was to play the game with the intern. All the intern wanted was half the $10,000. I hear your brother suggested sharing the clues. Sounds like a fine idea. No response. Maybe the kid thinks I'm the murderer. The tenants must think so, the way they peered over their shoulders and that delivery boy shouting like that. Why me? I'm a doctor. I took an oath to save lives, not take them. I'm a very busy man, Chris. I have lots of sick people depending on me. Oh well. Plowing his fingers through his stringy mouse-brown hair to keep it out of his eyes, when would he find time for a haircut? He seated himself next to the wheelchair. The clues are in my locker. What were they? The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain? Plain grain shed. Chris spoke slowly. He had practiced his recitation over and over, hour after lonely hour. Grain, oats, Otis Amber, for, shed, she, Ford, Ford lives in 4D. Ford, apartment 4D. Good thinking, Chris. The intern rose. Is that all? Chris decided not to tell him about the limper on the lawn, not until the next time. His partner would have to visit him next time and the next time, as long as he didn't sign the check. Now, about signing the check. Chris shook his head. No. On a bench in the lobby, Angela embroidered her trousseau, waiting for Denton. Dad had tried to teach her to drive, but she was too timid. He, too impatient. Why bother with driving lessons, her mother said. Anyone as pretty as you can always find a handsome young man to chauffeur you. Excuse me? She should have insisted. She should have said no just once to her mother. Just once. It was too late now. Theo came in with an armload of books. Hi, Angela. Hey, I found that quotation, or rather the librarian found it. You know, may God thy gold refine. Really? Angela thought it unnecessary to remind him that it was Florin Bach and Turtle who had asked about the quotation, not he. What lush lips, what white teeth, what fine shiny hair. Theo fumbled between the pages of a chemistry book for the index card. On it was written the third verse of America the Beautiful. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Theo had begun reading the refrain and ended up singing. He shyly laughed off his foolishness. I guess it doesn't have anything to do with money or the will, just Uncle Sam's patriotism popping up again. Thank you, Theo. Angela stuffed her embroidery in the tapestry bag on seeing Denton Deer rush off the elevator. Hello, Dr. Deer. How about a game of chess? Let's go, the entrance said, ignoring Theo. Sandy opened the front door for the couple, whistling America the Beautiful. The doorman was a good whistler, thanks to his chipped front tooth. I can't drive you home. I'm on duty tonight. I'll take a cab. Why must you go back to the hospital? Your crazy partner isn't dying, you know. She's not crazy. She made up her so-called wasting disease. I call that crazy. Nothing was wrong with her legs until the explosion in the Chinese restaurant. You're wrong. First you asked me to look in on her, now you don't want my opinion. Anyhow, I called the psychiatrist. Maybe you should talk to him too. I've never seen you so troubled. What's wrong? The wedding dress isn't ready, the guest list is too long. You'll have to cope with more important matters than that once we're married. Unless you don't want to get married. Is that it? Angela twisted the engagement ring her mother made her wear in spite of the rash. No, she did not want to get married. Not right away, but she couldn't say it. She couldn't tell him. Them. Not like that. Denton would be so hurt. Her mother, the engagement was announced in the newspaper, the wedding gown, the shower. But once they found out she wasn't their perfect Angela. How long has she been sitting here in the hospital corridor? A man in a business suit, psychiatrist, came out of Siddell's room. You must be Angela, he said. How had Siddell described her? A pretty young thing? I hear you're going to marry one of our interns. She was going to get married. Her one claim to fame. How is Miss Pulaski, Doctor? Do you mean, is she crazy? No. No more or less than anybody else in town. But the crippling disease, she made that up? So what? The woman was lonely and wanted some attention. So she did something about it. And quite creatively, too. Those painted crutches are a touch of genius. Is that normal? I mean, it's not insane to shock people into noticing who you are. The doctor patted Angela's cheek as though she were a child. No one was hurt by her little deception. Now go in and say hi to your friend. Hello, Siddell. Without makeup, without jewelry, clothed only in a white hospital gown, she looked older, softer. She looked like a sad and homely human being. You talk to the doctors? It's a simple fracture. What else? Siddell turned her face to the wall. And I'm going to stop there. Alright, I will see you guys in the next video. Don't have too much fun now. This is the Esperanza 2 for 3, signing out.